Sup YouTube, welcome back to another video documenting my journey to legend. And yes, as the thumbnail suggests, I am legend. I managed to achieve legend with this absolutely busted team. I've already made a video on it. Sir Reginald the Bulbous in the lead and the two flying dragons in the back, and Altaria and Shadow Dragonite. I already made a video on this team, so I'll just showcase some different battles in case you guys want to see some different matchups. Without further delay, let's get into these battles. I had some pretty poor success with this team the previous day before hitting legend today. I went from 2960-ish range down to the 2920s, and I was a little bit bummed out, but I tried again today as of recording these battles, and we found ourselves with a pretty good lead. In a previous video, I said that if they ever safe swap Gliscor to come in with Altaria. I made a mistake again. However, this time I learned to shield the first move, and now I'm just going to play out the two shields, where I will have to drop both of my shields to their one shield, unless they want to try to flip it, which they can't because the Shadow Dragon Breath is just that oppressive. So they do have one shield. We're going to get it back with this superpower. I go for it immediately because I want to give them as little farm as possible and then come back in with Reginald. They are going to send off an energy ball since it does chunk, especially from a Shadow Obama. And then depending on what they have in the back, I will decide what to do. I should have built up to the Focus Blast. I don't need a Zap Cannon. But I stay in a little bit too long and this might cost me. I will be able to just barely outpace to the Moonblast and land it on the Lantern and then hopefully leave it in farm down range. If the Lantern had thrown right away, I most likely would have sent off a move with the REGI. I think they did undercharge there, and then my opponent sees that the game's over and they concede the match. So we're down at the 2920s. I managed to go on an impressive 9-1 run with this in 2 sets. So I climbed over 100 elo. You'll see my my legend rank at the end. And this is not as favorable a lead as you would think. When I run into Lantern lead, I suspect that there might be an A9 in the back, so I try to bait it out with Dragonite. They bring in a Sableye, and now because it takes both of us 12 turns to reach our moves, I am gonna slightly outpace. So I'm willing to play out the two shields if that's what they want to do. But I believe this opponent doesn't want to invest a second shield, and so I throw right before they reach their foul play. And we take them out, which is great. I don't think that I'll have enough thrust in these pumps to take out, to land a Dragon Claw on the Noctowl, and I just barely don't get there. I come in with REGI immediately, and now I'm thinking that because I've seen their third Mon, Altaria is going to be my win condition. And they're going to catch this move, which is fine. I need to get rid of this Lantern, and 1-to-1 shields, Altaria should be able to sweep. I just need to go for double sky attacks, no need to do anything fancy. I shield the first one, mostly because people are unlikely to bait. My opponent does bait with the sky attack, and now they can go for a sky attack and a shadow ball, but I should be healthy enough where I can survive this second move, whatever it is. And you're going to see that my opponent, I think, does end up throwing the shadow ball, and we survive with like minimal HP, but just enough where I can get to the sky attack before going down. And so this was another really good game. If you're enjoying the video so far, definitely leave a like and consider subscribing. What do you do in the REGI mirror? As I've said before, just tank the first move. Once you get at least a shield or a focus blast off on this REGI, you don't need the Reginald. Like it is pretty shikaka at this point. Because more often than not, they might have a fighter, you know, if they're feeling ballsy and they don't respect Trevenant. So on this one, I'm going to build up to the Focus Blast and do a really risky catch. Had I caught that, I think a Focus Blast does about 45% to Shadow D-Knight. And they bait me with a pup like an absolute savage. And now I know that they're not rocking Ice Punch, or at least I suspect. However, I chicken out at the last second. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to shield this. They bait me again, but they're not getting to another move. So, you know, GG's to that opponent for being an absolute savage. I think this is a CMP tie because we were both one move away, and it is, and I managed to land that damage. And now I have a move loaded on my REGI that I'm not going to throw off. I'm going to come in with Altaria, and maybe this was a misplay. If I had come in with REGI, I would have had to send off that move. And I would much rather have had an energy start with Altaria. So now what I'm going to do, because I'm down a shield, Noctowl will win this game. So I need to make a catch. And I click the Focus Blast, so if they decide to undercharge, I will get that move off, get the second shield. and we don't. So now I just need to be able to farm this thing down. They die with the Sky Attack, and then I realized that I have double Sky Attacks loaded. I probably could have farmed down the Reggie, but I got a little nervous, and so I just sent off both Sky Attacks, and we managed to take that game. So another really, really good game so far. This game is unfortunately going to be, I believe, a loss because I misplay it. What should you do when they immediately swap in Reggie and not Stunfisk? Swap your Dragonite and go straight for the superpower, because you either land it and then you can Dragon Breath down, shield once, Dragon Breath down. But unfortunately for me, I'm gonna go down 2 shields without even having taken one of their shields, which was an incredible misplay. What I should have done there was just throw the Dragon Claw, even if I don't get to the superpower. I might have been able to get to the superpower, and they let it go smartly because you don't need to shield that superpower from Dragonite, because you can see how much it does, about 60%. Now I'm gonna come in with Reggie, and I'm locked in because I stayed in way too long with Reginald. They are gonna get a move. Lucky for me, this guy's running Pup, and there was still maybe some win condition here, but I needed to get a shield from them, which we do. And then I come in with Altaria, and you're gonna see that my opponent is gonna go straight Pup. They have an ice, a Weather Ball loaded on their Ninetales, and they're just going straight Pup because they're trying to delay the switch timer to get out of here. So I throw the Sky Attack once I realize what they're doing. On really poor timing, apparently. I thought I did 1 Dragon Breath and then threw, but apparently not. And now this Ninetales isn't low enough where I can farm it down with Reggie. So my opponent absolutely outplayed me here. If it's a Stunfisk, then you stay in, go for the Focus Blast. And if they don't shield, you can come in with Altaria. If they do shield, then shield the Focus Blast, but you'll be enough energy ahead where you'll be able to outpace to the next move. So we did make it to 2973 there. We're a 4-1 away from hitting Legend. And I kind of spoiled it. We do go on an impressive 5-0. Frostlass, the bane of my existence. And even more so with this player who's an absolute savage, who baits me with a Shadow Ball. God damn, man. So we do go for the Zap Cannon. We do get the debuff, thankfully. And now I can let the Reggie go. They didn't throw their move, which was surprising to me, so we do CMP by accident. Or on purpose, you know, your boys got mad skills. JK. Mr. Fleek told me that this team is a no skills team, absolute fast pressure. Look at those lock-ons go doing all this damage. While I slightly agree, I don't completely agree. I do think this, I know he's joking, but I do think this team takes a little bit of finesse, because you are rocking a very fragile Pokemon in Dragonite. And if you don't have a good IV Reggie like your boy, you're going to lose a lot of matchups. So if you have a really, really good Registeel, this team will work a lot better for you, because you'll be able to survive many more moves. I don't get that breakpoint on Stunfisk, so those mud shots chunk my Reggie, which kind of really sucks. I come in with Altaria to get an energy lead, and they realize the game is over. As soon as they let that superpower go through, I knew the game was done. Venu, you would think this is a really good lead, but more often than not, Venu has double steal in the back, is a really, really popular team. So I tank 1 move, I build up some energy, I see what they're going to come in with, and they come in with Basti. And now what you should do is do as many Dragon Breath damage as possible, because you will put it into range where superpower KOs. And if they don't shield that first one, they will go down and look like a scrub. Here my opponent's doing me a favor by letting me farm them down, but it's not going to be to their advantage, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to send off a Zap Cannon, since I won't be able to farm down, and I'm going to completely undercharge it. Completely undercharge it, and it'll leave it in enough lockdowns or lock-on range where you can farm it all the way down, have a move loaded, don't throw it on the Venu, swap into Altaria, because Basti is an incredibly hard counter to Altaria, and lucky for me, they have an Umbreon in the back. Every Umbreon that I've gone up against has shielded the first Moonblast. I don't know why. maybe the play is to build up to the Moonblast and go straight Sky Attack. But I definitely think that Moonblast is the play, because then you look so stupid if they don't shield it. Here I'm noticing my switch timer is up, and I'm gonna have a Sky Attack loaded. So I shield the Altaria, save it, come in with the Reggie, get off this Focus Blast, take out the Umbreon almost, and I'm gonna be able to survive 1 more Frenzy Plant, and get this Focus Blast, which will KO the Venu from this health. So again, a better IV REGI would survive that a lot more comfortably. My REGI sucks. It's raid IVs. I think I even traded for a few and just couldn't get a good IV REGI. So, you know, rip to me. Altaria lead, how do you play this out? They come in with a Diggersby running Tackle, which completely caught me off guard. And here I'm just going for the Sky Attack because I think that I want them to make a decision first before I do. And they built up to the Hyper Beam, but I doubt that a Diggersby swapping into a REGI is mad enough to rock fucking Hyper Beam. If they were rocking Hyper Beam, which they don't build back up to it, so I doubt it, that would have been an insane read, man. To just get the REGI out of there and bring something in that Diggersby can actually flip, that would have been so nasty. Lucky for me, they don't. I don't manage to reach the Sky Attack. I die with it. I'm going to bring back in the REGI, and here I make a critical error, which is why I left this in. Shield the first one. They build up to the discharge. Shield the first one because now they can bait, because you're going to want to shield the next moves. Lucky for us, in the 2 shields, they won't be able to outpace you because Dragon Breath is just way too OP. Shadow Dragonite is honestly like looking like one of the nicest, nastiest Pokemon in the Great League if you know how to use it. And I make another mistake here. Lucky for me, my opponent makes a mistake in return. Had they not shielded this superpower, I would have had to lock on farm down. I might have thrown a Zap Cannon just to ensure a debuff or try to get a debuff. But I would have had to lock on farm down from about 40% health, which would have been almost impossible, and Altaria might have been able to take us out. We got lucky. So, you know, I should have sent off the Dragon Claw and had a shield to my name, which would have been a lot better. This is the last battle. I only left it in because this man was rocking some absolute spice. Hypno is, you don't see him anymore, and I think he's rocking Double Dark or some variation of it. I go for the Zap Cannon, and I'm gonna attempt to catch a Fire Punch on the next move. Maybe a bit too obvious, but they don't have the best response to an Altaria. Sableye isn't a response to an Altaria. I don't even build up to the Moonblast because I want to force them to make a decision. They let that go, and even if they build up to the return, which they did, I will be able to survive one return and leave minimal farm, be almost at the Sky Attack, and my opponent decides to throw energy instead of me forcing a shield on their end. So now I'm going to come in with Dragonite. Hope I can Dragon Breath down before a Confusion registers. We do. And there's a Noctowl with 2 shields, but we're just going to completely outpace the bird. So yeah, we went on a 5-0 run to reach Legend a month and a week before I did last season. So clearly, you know, not to boast, but I have become a better battler. I'm learning to use my shields. I'm learning to time my moves better. I'm learning how to strategize around teams like this one where Dragonite is incredibly glassy. We reached 30-46. Last season, I hit Legend. I just barely passed, and I had 2 people basically toss me wins. So it didn't really feel like I hit Legend. This season, I completely feel like I've hit Legend. So it feels really good. Again, if you're looking to climb, basically in any elo, try this team. This team is super strong. Unless Madmen are running ABA Ice, which one Madmen was, you will be able to play around those A9 leads, those Obama leads. Use your shields, guys, boys and girls. And I wish you many success with this team if you decide to use it. What can you use in case you don't have a Registeel? Stunfisk. Stunfisk is a really good Pokemon that has a lot of the same coverage. Another Pokemon, if you don't like Stunfisk, is Dunsparce. And if you're an absolute madman, which I am, I'm going to try him in my next team, Excadrill. Drillbur is in the wild right now, so catch as many as you can. Build up an Excadrill for the Great League if you have good PvP IVs. You beat Stunfisk and REGI. You don't beat Dunsparce. And you have better coverage against some things and worse matchups because you are so glassy. So, worst case scenario, Excadrill Double Dragon. But before I go, one final question. I've hit Legend a whole month before I did last season. Drop some team recommendations down below, because I want to know what you guys would like to see me run. If I have the Mons built, I'll try to make them. If it's not too spicy and I think I can play around it, I'll try to make them as well. And I'll catch you in that next video. Peace.